A military train carrying young recruits to an army camp derailed in a Cairo suburb on Tuesday, killing at least 19 people and injuring over 100 others. The train was traveling from Upper Egypt to Cairo when it crashed in the Giza neighborhood of Bedrashin, according to security officials. Egypt's health minister said those injured had been taken to local hospitals, but one eyewitness said the emergency response was dismal.
People were killed in a fiery crash when their twin-engine aircraft slammed into a warehouse parking lot in Fort Lauderdale. Witnesses say the plane appeared to have problems as soon as it took off. The pilot was trying to return to the airport, but went down a half-mile short of the runway. The Piper Navajo plowed into 8 parked cars and a boat, engulfing all those vehicles in flame. No one, thankfully, on the ground was hurt.
One person's been killed and 17 injured after a goods train carrying a variety of chemicals and toxic raw materials en route to the Netherlands from Germany derailed and caught fire near the Belgian village of Schellebelle. 3 of the train's 12 wagons caught fire after half of them derailed due to excess speed. Residents within 500 meters of the blaze have been evacuated. The authorities say 300 people have been evacuated, but there's no danger to public health despite at least one of the wagons containing cyanide. At one point, flames were spread out over a distance of several hundred meters, endangering nearby houses.
The two Metro-North commuter trains collided in Connecticut, an hour outside New York City near the Fairfield-Bridgeport border and at the peak of the Friday commute.
This is a very serious incident. 60 people were transported to two different hospitals. We have 5 people who are critically injured, one in a very critical condition.
Passengers described the crash and the frantic moments that followed as chaotic.
There was this loud bang and crash, and everyone was jolted forward. People fell out of their seats, and things went dark, and there was a loud screeching.
Rescue crews scrambled to pull passengers from the mangled cars.
We had to smash a window for us to get out.
Authorities say the initial investigation shows the eastbound Metro-North train derailed and then collided with a westbound train. The accident suspended train service along the route, leaving passengers at Grand Central stranded.
Are expecting millions of dollars in damage.
A fire captain on the scene just happened to be recording some video when that bridge collapsed. Rachel Cox is there live with more. Rachel.
Hey, Gordon, as you can see right behind me, the destruction that is left behind from this fire, this bridge has just basically been destroyed. And actually, there are parts of the bridge that are still on fire. You can see up here, there are crews, there's rail crews up here, and they're working to make sure that some of these cross ties that were still burning moments ago are put out, and they've been working on that all day. As you said, this fire, they got the call yesterday just after 4 o'clock, and still part of it is still burning, and you can see that the damage behind me is just a great amount, and they estimate that there's about 800 feet of this bridge that has been collapsed.
More than 2,000 cruise ship passengers are expected in Baltimore Tuesday after a fire at sea. Royal Caribbean is flying all of the passengers from the Bahamas to the ship's starting point the day after a fire broke out on board the Grandeur of the Seas early Monday.
Freight train in Baltimore. It derailed after crashing into a rubbish truck and then exploded, sending smoke and fumes from the chemicals it was carrying into the air. The plume of smoke could be seen several miles away, and this amateur video captured the moment when it blew. The force of the explosion knocked out windows and damaged buildings.
Oh my God.
People living at least half a mile away from the wreckage said they could smell chemicals in the air. The emergency services, though, have said that the substances on the train are not believed to be dangerous.
One of the two burning has terephthalic acid, which is a compound that we understand is made in making plastic, and car 8 is also burning, which has some sort of fluoride on it. So that's one of the reasons we don't have as much concern as if it were some more hazardous chemical.
As a precaution, people within a 20-block radius of the site have been told to stay out of the area.
A commuter train slams into another train stopped between stations in Buenos Aires. Authorities say at least 3 people are dead and more than 100 people are injured. It's not clear why the lead train stopped between stations or why the following train did not stop. That second train was a 2-level train that had been out of service for 6 months and had only been brought back online recently. Argentina's government took over this commuter line last year after a train crash killed 51 people.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
scene of widespread devastation where train cars carrying toxic petroleum products derailed and exploded today. It all happened in a lakeside town in the Canadian province of Quebec along the main.
The massive inferno sent flames into the night sky, fueled by crude oil from ruptured tank cars. The runaway, unmanned 73-car train derailed about 1 a.m., sparking a fire and explosions that shattered the quiet of this lake town 135 miles north of the Maine border. By daybreak, the skies were still black with thick smoke, visible for miles. Firefighters from around the region, including from the U.S., helped battle the blaze. Crews poured water on tank cars still standing in hopes of avoiding more explosions.
This view from this helicopter shows just how serious the train derailment was. The exact point where the train left the tracks is clearly visible. And from the station, the true extent of the damage becomes clearer still. This train was travelling from Paris to Limoges and was almost at capacity, with over 350 passengers making their way south for the Bastille holiday weekend. It was travelling through the station at rush hour, with dozens of people waiting on the platform. As the train came off the tracks, one carriage mounted the platform. Some people will likely still be trapped inside the carriages. As the emergency services continue working through the night to free the wounded, eyewitness accounts are emerging from passengers in the train and those on the platform.
Investigators to the scene. It happened near the town of Rockview, 115 miles southeast of St. Louis. Chip Reed has the details on the country's second major train accident in the last 8 days.
The two freight trains collided at about 2:30 this morning. More than a dozen train cars derailed. Some plowed into the base of a highway overpass, which came crashing down. 2 cars were on the overpass at the time. 7 people received minor injuries. 5 were passengers in cars. The other 2 were on a train. The accident comes about a week after a commuter crash in Connecticut injured 70 people during the evening rush hour and disrupted service for days for tens of thousands of commuters north of New York City. The National Transportation Safety Board has ruled out foul play in that crash, but on Friday the NTSB said the train's engineer had observed an unusual condition on the track, but they did not say what the condition was. The NTSB also said the tracks in that area had been repaired just last month.
Plane crashed Wednesday in which the pilot and co-pilot were killed. No one else was reported injured in the crash, which caused neighborhoods within a half-mile radius to be evacuated. Police said no homes were damaged. The plane, an Airbus A300 that had taken off from Louisville, Kentucky, crashed at about 5 a.m. The cause remains unclear as the crew didn't report any signs of trouble. The aircraft broke into at least 2 pieces in an open field about 900 yards from Birmingham Shuttlesworth International Airport. Local television station WBTM reported that the crash caused at least 2 explosions and scattered debris across a long path.
This cargo train, also known as the Beast, is notorious for carrying migrants. It derailed in the southern Mexican state of Tabasco on Sunday. Bodies have already been recovered from the sides, but rescue workers believe there's more trapped underneath the cars. Mexican authorities say the cargo train was carrying at least 250 Honduran migrants hitchhiking from Guatemala to the United States border. But heavy rains had loosened the earth and caused the rail tracks to shift. Rescue workers could only reach the remote area by air and boat.
Bridge collapse sends a train crashing into a Fulton County river. It's tonight's top story at 10. Crews are figuring out how to remove 6 train cars from Spoon River in Seaville. The bridge broke down around 4:30 this afternoon. The train was en route to Peoria and carried mostly corn syrup. Fortunately, no one's hurt. Crews say the bridge is more than 100 years old. The railroad company says the bridge was inspected within the last few months. The inspection found no significant damage. The wreck is under investigation.
A train derailment in Southampton County. Right now, Delaware Road at Route 671, General Thomas Highway, is closed. The sheriff's office tells us the train was slowing down between the Dominion Power Plant and the Ashland Chemical Plant when it derailed at about 2:30 this morning.
A big billow of smoke. There was a fire associated with this crash. Crews are still on the scene. 2 people were injured. One person was treated at Southampton Memorial Hospital, other flown to Centera Norfolk General Hospital. This happened just about 2:30 this morning. Now the fire is out, but what happened was there was a diesel spill when the trains derailed, and they put the fire out, but the smoke is still billowing. Now, railroad police are investigating. They're trying to determine the cause of this crash and trying to figure out, which direction the train was traveling and why exactly this happened. This is still under investigation.
Of a plane crash in California. A small business jet swerving off the runway and hitting a nearby hangar before catching fire. The twin-engine Cessna Citation, which took off from Haley in Idaho, came off the right side of the runway after landing at Santa Monica Airport shortly after 6 p.m. local time. There's no information of how many people were on board or reports of any casualties, although eyewitnesses fear the worst. An investigation is underway into the cause of the crash.
Escape as a luxury super yacht caught fire and sank off Cairns.
Just off the idyllic North Queensland coast, millions of dollars burned to the waterline. The 41-metre Seafarers crippled by an engine fire around 6 a.m. Fast-moving blaze forcing its 16 passengers and crew to jump for their lives and into rafts at Cow Bay, around 100 kilometres north of Cairns.
It'll sink, won't it?
Eventually, yeah. A desperate mayday call was picked up and a nearby cargo ship diverted to pluck the bobbing survivors to safety. It wasn't as fancy as the Seafarers, but their ride to dry land would have been just as well.